अनेवरक्कुम इनिय कालै वणक्कम. A very pleasant morning to one and all present here. सभी के लिए एक बहुत ही सुखद सुबह. With the divine blessings of our founder chairman, Dr. A. Shanmugasundaram, and with the benevolent support from our Chancellor, Dr. A. S. Ganesan, and Madam Chancellor, Dr. Anuradha Ganeshan, I, Dr. M. Gopinath, Associate Professor Physiology, on behalf of our foundation course team, AVMC, feel privileged to invite you all to this prestigious and traditional occasion of White Coat Ceremony. Now I request our Chief Guest, Dr. Renu Jiboy Vagis, Director Principal, Pondicherry Institute of Medical Sciences, Puducherry, our beloved Dean, Dr. P.F. Kotu, our Dean HP, Dr. V.N. Mahalashmi, Dr. Vishnu Bhatt, our Director Medical Research, Dr. Jayasingh, Medical Superintendent, Dr. Rajan, Vice Principal, to occupy the dais. We invited this budding batch of 2021 to 22 with a grand course commencement ceremony through a virtual platform on 14th February 2022. And these young, new and aspiring minds entered this vibrant campus with mixed thoughts and ambitions on 4th April 2022. After various brainstorming and design thinking sessions, we foundation course team proceeded on to do this foundation course. As per NMC guidelines, we have successfully completed the foundation course with utmost dedication of our foundation team. In the foundation course so far, we are done with orientation, skills training, and professional development. And we have also initiated language training sessions in various forms. This white coat ceremony marks the beginning of your medical career, which defines the guidelines regarding expectations and responsibilities to be followed by a medical graduate. Having said that, this white coat ceremony is organized to have emphasis on promise to care and promise to heal. Let's begin this event orderly with the invocation song for the benediction of Almighty. I request everyone to rise for this invocation.
दया कर दान विद्या का हमें परमात्मा देना, दया करना हमारी आत्मा में शुद्धता देना, हमारे ध्यान में आओ प्रभु, आँखों में बस जाओ, अंधेरे दिल में आकर के परम ज्योति जगा देना, बहा दो प्रेम की गंगा, दिलों में प्रेम का सागर, हमें आपस में मिलजुल कर प्रभु रहना सिखा देना, वतन के वास्ते जीना, वतन के वास्ते मरना, वतन पर जान फिदा करना, प्रभु हमको सिखा देना, दया कर दान विद्या का हमें परमात्मा देना, दया करना हमारी आत्मा में शुद्धता देना.
I request everyone to please be seated. Thank you, Meenakshi. The essence of the prayer song is, give us knowledge, grant us abundant spirit. Dwell in our vision, teach us to live in harmony, the joy of noble needs, to be honest, and give us the strength of hard working. By tradition and culture, we are well known for our hospitality across the globe. Now I invite Dr. Manju, Professor and Head Department of Biochemistry, Foundation Course Coordinator, to extend a hospitable welcome to one and all present here.
A very good morning to one and all. With the divine blessings of God Almighty, our founder chancellor, Dr. Shanmugasundaram sir, and the benevolence of our beloved trustee, Mrs. Annapoorani Shanmugasundaram ma'am, our beloved chancellor, Dr. A.S. Ganeshan sir, and Madam Chancellor, Dr. Anuradha Ganeshan ma'am, I welcome you all assembled here for the white coat ceremony for the MBBS batch of 2021-22. First and foremost, I would like to welcome our beloved Dean, Dr. P.F. Kotu sir, for coming and gracing these occasions. Sir was very keen and particular that the foundation course will commence only after 75% of the total students they join our college. We obediently followed his instructions and finally completed the foundation course successfully. I thank you, sir, for all the moral support and the timely advice given. Welcome to the program, sir. Now I extend my warm greetings and would like to welcome our chief guest of the day, Dr. Renu Bijoy Verghese, Director Principal, Pondicherry Institute of Medical Sciences, Puducherry. We know, ma'am, that you have a very busy schedule today and you have to be in your college within 2 hours, I know, ma'am. In spite of that busy schedule, you have come here to bless our new batch of first MBBS students and to inspire them by your insightful words. Thank you very much and welcome, ma'am. Next, I would like to welcome our most respected Director of Medical Research, Dr. Vishnu Bhatt, sir, who is always, as all of us know, is a constant pillar of support for any academic or research-oriented programs organized by this institute. Welcome, sir. Next, I welcome our super dynamic Dean, Health Professionals Education, Dr. V.N. Mahalakshmi ma'am, who has guided this foundation course team from the time of planning of this course till today's white coat ceremony. Welcome, ma'am, for this program. I am indeed very happy to welcome our Medical Superintendent, Dr. Jay Singh sir, Vice President, Dr. T. Rajan sir, Vice Principal, Student Affairs, Dr. Arunachalam sir, heads of the various departments, senior professors, and faculties for this white coat ceremony for 2021-22 batch of MBBS students. Last, I would welcome my dear students of 21-22 batch for whom actually the whole program is arranged for. I know each of you are super excited about this white coat ceremony. The number of doubts that you people asked me in the last regarding this white coat ceremony was more than any topic related doubts in the last 2 weeks, you know that. So let me tell all of you, myself and the foundation course team and the whole management, we are also equally excited and happy for you all. It's the start of a new journey into the world of medicine. Today, all of you get a white coat and you all will be taking an oath. White coat is a superpower you get to save lives and make this world a better place. So wear the white coat with dignity and pride. Work hard. I wish you all success for your medical career. I take this opportunity even to thank the heads of the departments of all, head of department of all the departments of college and the hospital side and all the resource persons who have rendered their support for the conduct of foundation course which helped us successfully complete the course. With these words, I welcome you all again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Light fades away darkness. Light symbolizes knowledge and wisdom. To make this event a blessed one, to invoke Goddess Saraswati by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom for seeking our choicest blessings. I request the dignitaries on the dais to come forward to light the lamp and water the Tulasi plant as a symbol of growth and prosperity. Thank you, ma'am. I now request our beloved Dean, Dr. P.F. Kotu, sir, to address the gathering and bless our students on their new venture.
A very good morning to the enthusiastic first MBBS students, new members of AVMC family. Today's chief guest, Professor Renu, Principal and Director of prestigious Pondicherry Institute of Medical Sciences, and my colleagues on the dais, Professor Bhatt, Professor Jai Singh, Professor Mahalakshmi, Professor Rajan, our Vice Principal Dr. Arunachalam, HODs, and other faculty members. When we say this white coat ceremony, my memory goes back to the white coat ceremony 51 years back, when I had passed first MBBS and was to enter the clinical side. That was in the year 1972. Then I was just recollecting that time, of course, when the day we entered medical college, we were mandated to wear the white coat. I remember many a times our anatomy professor used to hold us for not wearing the white coat. So white coat was not a thrill when we passed. Main thrill was the stethoscope. So that was the one, and hanging around the neck was we used to consider it as a great privilege. And believe me, the very nostalgic memories, the incentive or a cake that was shown to me, if you pass in the first attempt, I'll get you a Littmann's stethoscope. Littmann's stethoscope, those days were not available. It used to be somebody coming from UK and all they used to bring. And I passed, and the stethoscope came from UK, and with great, because in the whole batch of 176 students, hardly one or two had. Every other people had that another stethoscope. So that I remember. Then that was the white coat ceremony. Now, you Google out a white coat ceremony, they will say it is a modern history, it has started in America in 1990 and all. I was wondering, see, about 20 years back, earlier to that, we hear, not only in my college, all the colleges wherever I know, and my senior professors are over here, then they will be a witness for that. We Indians are not best record keepers. See, white coat ceremony, before those people described it, was existent over here, in India. It is not there, not mention of any of the colleges anywhere. It is in Austria, it is there, Germany, America, white coat ceremony started. Who started this, started like that. Those things of information is available. Why I am telling you this is for the information of these younger people who are entrance to this. They are getting a pass of a white coat to go into the hospital, that kind of a thing. And now, I was just evolving how this white coat has evolved. That used to be worn by only the medical personnel. Then other paramedical courses and all started. They also started wearing. And some of these paramedical courses and all used to go to city even with wearing a white coat. And the public used to get confused whether this person is a medical student or a paramedical. These kind of things came in. Then you can't stop. Everybody can wear a white coat. Why not? Technicians started wearing, physiotherapy people started wearing, AHS students started wearing. Then ultimately leading to the confusion. Sometimes, when many people start doing in their own way, that will lose its significance. But anyway, the white color has not lost its significance. It is a symbol of professionalism. It is a symbol of purity. Let anybody wear. As long as they have those etiquettes, it will certainly add a value to that. And I was telling, this white coat is the one which will help you to establish your new identity as a medical student. So whenever you have this new identity of a medical student, the professional attributes of a medical student and a medical doctor who has completed are not different. They are all the same, respecting others, coming in time, wearing good dress, being sympathetic to the patients, patient relatives, colleagues, respecting seniors. They are all, see, the etiquettes of a professional or a doctor are no way different from that of even a first time student. That you keep in mind. Of course, you have to wait and work for next 4.5 years to become a full-fledged doctor. But the expectations of the society, expectations of the community from you, because you are wearing that white coat, purity and professionalism symbol, you have to modulate, you have to modify your behavior. That's what I just really like to tell you all. And when you have this new identity, your behavior, your responsibility, everything has to be there. Otherwise, it will not be a totally kind of insignificant. And now, with the introduction of the new competency-based curriculum, early clinical, we waited patiently to enter or touch a patient, examine a patient. We means I am talking to my undergraduate days. Until I passed first MBBS, then we are no kind of any, unless you have some patient in the family, we never used to have any access to the patients who are admitted in the hospital. We have no business go there. Now, with this new competency-based curriculum rolled out, early clinical exposure, this foundation course, you have got avenues. We proved that if the student is exposed to the clinical environment in the early part of his career, that will be advantageous, that will be beneficial in the total entire course of the duration of the study. That's how these reforms have come, and as a part of that, in the part of foundation program as well, and you have early clinical exposure, you will be taken to hospital, various departments, various systems. Those are functional in the hospital, they will be exposed to that. So that when you are all adults, you adhere to the adult learning principles. When you know what you are doing, when you know what you are supposed to learn, then you perform better. So with that intention, these have been introduced, and you will be exposed here in the AVMC campus for all that. And apart from that, you already sense the committed group of teachers over here, the environment we are trying to make as much conducive, academic environment in the campus as much possible. So it's like, so much of food, so much of everything is, facilitation is available. It is ultimately left to you how to make full use of it, how to make good use of it. This advice, we have given on some platform earlier as well. Please, you always keep the goal for which you have enrolled here in the Auditorium Medical College to complete this program in the minimum possible time. I don't say shortest, minimum possible time. There is no shortcut. So you need to have that and take this day. Of course, our esteemed chief guest is there, and you will be taking an oath in front of him, and you take an oath to yourself. This is the external one, which may or you may not remember. Take an oath, sit down quietly when you are all alone, take yourself. Then you will realize that. And as a part of this, apart from taking oath, some other you will be what you call covered, or you will be, what is that word, Mahalakshmi? Coaching? Cloaking. You will be cloaking with the white coat. So consider this as a kind of rite for a passage. So nice, beautiful lines are written. White coat means advocacy, privilege to fight change in the society, compassion, collaboration, to start a new dream. So read that, and to take a strength to tolerate. All these things are needed for you because you have chosen to be a doctor. And the plant, when it is still in young, plant, it did not become a tree, that time whatever we try to impregnate in your mind, in your behavior, in your emotions, will be imbibed well, and you will allow it to nurture and come out with a true professional. So these are some of the few words. I take greetings on this occasion on behalf of our management, on behalf of our Honorable Chancellor, and all the staff of the Auditorium Medical College. So wish you all the best and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. White coat, what does it mean? Wearing white coat recounts lifelong teaching, learning, and service to the community. White coat symbolizes trust, hope, responsibility, conviction, and so on. I hope all of us need to be enlightened more on this. For this, I request our respected Director of Medical Research, Dr. Vishnupat sir, to acquaint us on the significance of white coat ceremony.
Dr. Renu Varghese, the Director Principal of PIMS and our Chief Guest for the day, Dr. P.F. Kothur, our Dean, Dr. Mahalakshmi, Dean HPE, Dr. Jaya Singh, our Medical Superintendent, Dr. Rajan, Vice Principal, all senior faculty members and the organizers, and proud parents of the young students and my dear students. It's a great occasion for you. You must be surprised to know black coat became white coat over the years. So the white coat ceremony was started in 1993 in the University College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York by a doctor called Arnold P. Gold. He was a pediatric neurologist who first celebrated the white coat ceremony, although Dean was telling when we were students also we were white coat. It was by compulsion but not as a ceremony. Over the years it became a ceremony. But if you take the history, the earliest white coat was worn in 1889 in the Pittsburgh School of in USA. Earlier, before end of 19th century, doctors used to wear black coat, not white coat, because these people, the patients, used to consult doctors only at the terminal end when nothing could be done. So most of the advice by the doctors should be a communication or psychological address, or it was more of a quackery than real medicine. So if you look at the history, Thomas Eakins in 1875 created a painting in Jefferson Medical School of Philadelphia, where he named it as the Gross Clinic. So where Dr. Samuel Gross and his assistants were operating with the nurses wearing black dress, not white dress, amputating the leg of a young person. Then 1889, Joseph Lister brought up the history or the idea of antiseptics, which has taken the scientific method of preventing infection. Then the next painting, Agnew Clinic, was shown in Pennsylvania, where the highest Agnes was depicted in white coat giving advice to the patients. So as early as 1889, the black coat started becoming white coat, and over the years people started wearing white coat. You must understand the white coat signifies many things. It is love for yourself. One should love self, that is more important. And you should love your white coat. As Dean was telling, in market also you may be running around with white coat. That is not the idea. It should be clean, neat, at least washed once in 2-3 days, so that you do not carry germs and infection to others and your patients. So you should maintain respect for your coat. It is also a method of respecting your friends, family, and of course your patients. Ultimately, we doctors should respect the patient, and if you lack humanity and respect for other human beings, then I think you are unfit to be a doctor. So in 19th century toward the end, gradually the black coat became white coat, indicating pureness in our thinking and action. And young students, medical schooling is a marathon, and you should race yourself, you should pace in this race so that you will come out successfully. There is a lot of work, but you cannot expect return in the same way. Somebody said, you work hard for a return of a banana. In the sense, you should not expect the return. Return may come, may not come, but your working is more important. The medical profession is considered a noble one, and I am sure that all young doctors like you who will come out will maintain the dignity and the required nobleness of the professions. It requires hard work, it requires dedication, it requires confidence, it requires respect for others. So you have lot of responsibility, and if you maintain the dignity and decorum, obviously you will be respected by your patients and by the society. So now you may ask me where all doctors do wear the white coat. Not necessarily always, especially pediatrician and psychiatrist. Pediatrician always think that if you wear white coat, the children may be afraid of you because they identify as a doctor. You expect a patient child to identify a pediatrician as more of a friend rather than a doctor. Similarly, maybe psychiatrist, the communication they think is better if they don't wear white coat. And somebody has done a study to find out how many doctors really wear white coat. And they have found about 72% of the doctors wear white coat, and when they looked into the timing, almost 75% of the times when they are in active work, they were wearing white coats. So this also helps to recognize by your colleagues, friends and patients. So it is not only recognizing, but also covers your body and dress from spillage of some material during your examination. So it may keep your dress clean, and also white coat will have big pockets where you can keep some of your materials required. As Dean has said, white coat over the years it has been used by many people. Of course, nurses and doctors were always working together. Then the physiotherapist, pharmacists, lab technicians, everybody is wearing white coat. So now they say not only white coat, you also should have a badge so that you be recognized not only by your white coat but also your badge. So it is a very important day for you because earlier, as Dean was and Madam will be knowing, we used to take 2.5 years before we can come to clinical medicine. We used to study physics, chemistry, biology, English, in Pondicherry, French also. All these we used to learn for 1 year and 1.5 years basic science. Then only we can go to clinical medicine. But now the medical council has changed. The day you enter in the medical school, they take you to the clinical side also. So what's called as early clinical exposure. So this white coat, which used to come as a ceremony after 2.5 years, now you are getting at the beginning of your career. So I am sure that all of you will live up to the standard, wear a white coat and come out with the dignity and come with good marks and maintain human value all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your information, sir. Informative talk. Next is the most awaited event of the day, that is clocking. Clocking is a symbol of trust being bestowed upon you all to carry on this noble profession. It's time to put on your coats, white coats, and to get into a lifelong commitment of service to humanity. I feel humbled and obliged to invite the dignitaries on the dais to cloak few of our students. I request our chief guest, Dr. Renu G. Boy Varghese, our Dean Sir, Dr. P.F. Kotur, our Mahalakshmi Dean HP, Dr. Vishnu Bhatt, Director Medical Research, and our Medical Superintendent, Dr. Jai Singh, to come down the dais and clock our students. Now I call upon the students of roll number 1 to 5. request all the students to get their floral gift also when they leave. Next 5 students. I thank the dignitaries for clocking our students. We really feel privileged. Okay, very nice. Now I like to invite Dr. Rajan, Vice Principal, Professor and Head of Anatomy, Dr. Pushpa Kotur, Professor, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Arunachalam, Vice Principal, Student Affairs, Professor and Head, Department of Community Medicine, Dr. Ilangadir, Professor, Department of Anatomy, Dr. Sudhakar, Associate Professor, Department of Anatomy, to clock the students.
Thank you, dear faculties, for clocking the students. Thank you very much. Now I invite Dr. Lakshmi Jatia, HOD Department of Physiology, Dr. Ashokan Sir, Head of the Department Pharmacology and MU Coordinator, Dr. Gopinath, Associate Professor, Department of Physiology, Dr. Frank, Assistant Professor, Department of Physiology, and Dr. Kalsat Sir, HOD Department of Emergency Medicine, to clock our students. Thank you, dear faculties. Thank you for clocking your students.
Now I invite Dr. L. Rajan, Professor and Head, Department of Anesthesia, Dr. Sashmita Misra, Professor, Department of Biochemistry, Dr. Manju, Professor and Head, Department of Biochemistry, Dr. Jawahar, Professor and Head, Department of Pathology, Dr. Nishantini, Associate Professor, Department of Community Medicine, to clock the students. Dr. Anushila ma'am and Dr. James Rajesh to join the list and clock our students. thank all the faculty members for clocking our students.
Once again, congratulations to all the students. Before Professor Mahalakshmi comes forward to administer oath, Charaka oath, I have a small one message to you. I just observed all the 150 white coats. Then the question I put to Professor Mahalakshmi was, who chose the size? Then they all sized, and she said that they all wanted as fit, as small as possible. Then I thought, I should not keep quiet now. See, when you say white coat, it has to be clean, it has to be neat, it has to be ultra white, iron, fine, that's fine. Size also matters. Okay, now you are all young now students, this size like a shirt, bush shirt is fine. But as you go higher and higher, length should go on increasing. Ultimately, when you become senior professor like that, it should go below the knee. If you imagine, that will be the more and more experience, it will become more. And it will add a kind of a dignity to you. Think over it. Okay, this is not only my thought of many more in the others also as well, right? You have the chosen size, fine, but when you go to second MB, third MB, by the time you go, if I come out, it should be proper sized as well, right? Thank you.
I thank all the faculty members for clocking our lovable students. On behalf of the management, faculty, staff and students of AVMC, I wish all the students of MBBS batch 2021 to 22 a great, glorious, compassionate and a very successful career. We all have the will to make ourselves better than what we think we can be. We have the will to push us beyond what we are capable of. Now it's time for you all to take the pledge of lifelong commitment to yourself and to the community you are going to serve. As per NMC guidelines from this year onwards, we feel privileged to administer modified Charaka's oath. Now I request Dr. V.N. Mahalakshmi ma'am, Dean HP, to administer the oath.
Once again, congratulations to batch of 2021-22. I feel privileged to administer this oath for you. And we want you to take this oath as guidelines, roadmap of what you should be living in the next few years. That is what this oath means. I'd request all students to rise. Okay. I hope you have a copy of the oath. Please put your right hand out, extend it, and repeat after me. As a student of Auditorium Medical College, class of 2022, beginning this journey, during these unforeseen circumstances of the COVID pandemic, I stand here today before my loved ones and fellow members of the medical community to accept my white coat and the responsibilities with which it comes. I take this oath with the goal of becoming the best physician I can be. During the period of study, I shall live a disciplined life with my teachers and peers. My actions shall be guarded, service-oriented, and free from indiscipline and envy. In my dealings, I shall be patient, obedient, humble, constantly contemplative, and calm. I shall aim all my future efforts and ability towards the desired goal of my profession. As a physician, I shall always use my knowledge for the welfare of mankind. I shall always be ready to serve patients, even if I am extremely busy and tired. I shall not harm any patient for the sake of monetary or selfish gains, nor shall I entertain a desire for lust, greed, wealth, or immorality shall not even enter my thoughts. My dressings shall always be decent, yet impressive and inspiring confidence. My conduct shall always be appropriate, pleasant, truthful, beneficial, and polite. I shall use my experience in actions appropriate for the time and place. I shall constantly endeavor to accomplish, keep myself updated with the latest developments in the field and widen my knowledge. I shall treat patients of gender other than mine in the presence of relatives and attendants. When examining a patient, my discretion, attention, and senses shall be concentrated on the cure of the disease. I shall not divulge the confidentiality related to patient or family inappropriately. Although I shall become an authority in my subject, I shall not display my knowledge and skill with arrogance. With great humility, honor, and gratitude, we, the students of AVMC, class of 2022, accept these white coats as we embark on our journey to become both skilled physicians and genuine healers. Thank you. May God be with you all. And please remember, this is just not an oath or a promise you made for yourself. This is the learning contract which you are going to use for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you all. I now request Dr. Jawahar, Professor and Head of Pathology, to introduce his teacher, guide, mentor, and our respectable chief guest, Dr. Renu G. Varghese.
Good morning, everyone, on the dais and off the dais. I'm a humble student who is going to introduce a great teacher. So today, this task of introducing our guest of honor is a great privilege. I know this one is difficult, but the thought that she is a woman of virtue and simplicity. We are so lucky that she really finds a way to be with us today despite her hectic schedule. I feel elated to introduce our chief guest, my teacher, my mentor, my guide, Dr. Renu G. Varghese, Director Principal, PAMS, Puducherry. Professor Dr. Renu G. Varghese has completed her MBBS from Stanley Medical College, later completed her DCP and MD from Postgraduate Institute of Basic Medical Sciences, Tharamani Campus, Chennai. Professor Renu G. Varghese joined as Assistant Professor in SRMC, Chennai, later joined as Associate Professor in PAMS in the year 2002, continued as Professor since 2005. Later from 2016 onwards, till date, Madam is the Director Principal and Professor of PAMS, Puducherry. Madam has completed 20 years of academic research and administrative excellency in PIMS recently, which came in the newspaper also. Congratulations, ma'am. And she has completed her fellowship in Foundation of International Medical Education and Research, which is called as a FAMER in the year 2012. Madam also has undergone training in molecular diagnostics in Louisiana State University of Health Sciences, USA. To her credits, she also has 50 publications, which includes both national and international articles. Madam, we, the AVMC family, once again welcome you for this great occasion. Thank you. Now we call upon Dr. Renujibai Varghese to deliver her address.
Good morning to all gathered here, my dear students, and let me first thank Dr. Mahalakshmi and Dr. Kotur for inviting me. For me, it's a big privilege to be here with you because my prime passion is being a teacher. You, dear students, are starting a new journey. Today you have taken an oath. I hope you have all understood what you have read or repeated after Dr. Mahalakshmi. There is a difference between every other profession and being a doctor. You are responsible for human life. Today I am here to talk to you about humanistic medicine. What is humanism? Any system or mode of thought or action in which human interests, values and dignity predominate. This is the Webster's definition of humanism. I do not want it to be a silent audience, so I always like interaction. So I will put questions to you in between so that, like I told you, I'm a teacher, so I need to know whether you are awake or not. So one of the questions, first questions is, how are we going to differentiate humans and animals? Anybody? Loudly, yeah.
Self-consciousness.
Self-consciousness, okay. You can talk loudly, I'm sure you are boisterous. Please sit.
Same answer.
Same answer. Anything else? What are our senses? What are 5 senses that we have?
Ma'am, on the basis of intelligence.
Intelligence. Believe me, dogs are also pretty intelligent. So intelligence is not all. What differentiates the human from all other animals?
Humans know how to be in their life.
Beg your pardon?
How to be.
How to be in life. Okay.
The only difference is the humanity.
Humanity.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So you have all, thank you. Thank you for your interactions. I'm very happy. We have our 5 senses. What are our 5 senses? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touch. And we have our expressions. Our expressions show compassion. I'm sure if you have dogs at home, you can make out the emotions of the dog from the eyes, but there's not much of expressions, of course, unless it's anger, which is shows with growling. But we can show, our eyes can reflect, our touch can reflect what we feel, what we can help. So here I am to talk to you about humanism. I would like to read out a saying by Leo Pascalia. Too often we underestimate the power of touch. A smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which has the potential to turn a life around. The most important thing a doctor has to do is to listen to his patient. Today, we are not in that kind of world. I will explain to you as we go. You are starting your journey. Please remember these guidelines. You are going into a different world than what you are used to. You are in the first year. You are used to a school life. This is going to be a different journey. Learn every moment that you have. The various things, it's not just the lectures, not just the practical classes. There are a lot to learn from your surrounding. You need to be a sponge to imbibe everything. William Osler, the father of modern medicine, has said this: he who studies medicine without books sails in an uncharted sea. What does uncharted sea mean? It means that you're going in no direction. You're just going on, you don't know where you're going. If you don't study, so studying is important. But he who studies medicine without patience doesn't go to sea at all. So whole thing about medicine is your patients. The patients are the ones that are your textbooks. Each one will tell you something different. No two patients are alike. You might think, oh, it's the same cough and cold. No. You will learn something different. Today's practice of medicine is quite dangerous. I'm not sure how much of you are, how many of you are aware that today it is more about documentation, putting everything into computer, the EHR, where all the it is available, the data is available on the computers, and you can transfer it to the next hospital wherever the patients go. And almost everything is based on investigations. Blood investigations, X-rays, ultrasound, MRI, CT, name it, you have it. The doctors today have forgotten the practice of clinical history and clinical examination. You, dear students, should not forget it. Today, in most places, what happens is when the patient walks in, the doctor is on the computer trying to fill in all the history, his physical findings, ordering the test, ordering his medicine. He only listens with half a ear, and he says, he doesn't have the patience to listen to you. There are other reasons. Today, the patients are more in a litigative mode, they are more educated, they Google, whether they're right or wrong, we don't know. I'm sure you have seen number of jokes. Here, you do not have to pay the doctor's fees, only for the Wi-Fi. Dr. Google is available. I'm sure you've seen? Yes? No? Okay. Because today's patients are busy Googling and they find answers which are weird and they question you on it, you lose your patience, and then it becomes a war. Difficulties are there. And next thing is health economics. You order a battery of tests, the patient doesn't have the money to pay. It is you as a doctor who has to realize what the patient can afford. That is humanism. Empathy, realizing the troubles that the doctor has. Dr. Abraham Verghese, a doctor in US, I'm sure if you have time, please look at his TED Talks in the YouTube, it's available. So he talks about the eye patient. So the whole patient is in the computer. The patient may be sitting there, but you're busy looking at the records, his x-rays, his ultrasound findings and everything. You forgot to look at the patient. Probably the patient has a simple psychosomatic illness. Psychosomatic means he's got a problem which he's not able to handle, and because of that he has other symptoms like a stomach pain. How many of you had bad stomach pains before your maths exam? Anybody? Please raise your hand. Yeah, and I also. Yeah. So the minute the maths exam used to get over, my stomach pain used to disappear. So those are your psychosomatic illness. There is no point in doing an endoscopy for such a patient. If you had talked to him, you would have realized. Saved an endoscopy, saved your time, saved his money. Am I getting across to you what I mean? So it is very, very important to listen to a patient. And I just narrate another story that he had used in his TED Talk. He said one of his teachers, when they were waiting in a OPD, had a woman bring in a child, and he wished the mother good morning, and the woman replied back good morning. So he said, okay, you're coming from across the lake. So she said yes. And where have you left, you have 2 children, and where have you left the older one? So she said, I left it with my sister. And you're working in the linoleum factory. So yes, I'm working in the linoleum factory. So how did he get all this information without even talking? So what she said was, the accent of her good morning told from which place she was coming, and that was across the lake. The mother was carrying a baby, but a coat, a larger size coat, so of another child. So that evidently meant there was another child which she had dropped off somewhere. And she saw her hands, and that type of dermatitis was very common amongst the linoleum workers. So this is how doctors have to observe, listen. And once you talk, somebody who's asking you like this, definitely the patient will trust you. Yes? So that is all it is all about. Examining the patient. So Dr. Abraham Verghese tells how he does. He listens to all that the patient has to say. May not be possible all the time. And then examines right from the pulse to every node and every system by system. You will learn all this. It is worth it. I will tell you a story, which is a true story that happened to us. I don't know if Dr. Jawahar remembers it, but we had a patient coming to us, old lady, coming to us for a bone marrow biopsy for anemia. Anemia means the hemoglobin level is very low. So she had a very low hemoglobin, about only 4 grams. So we did the bone marrow biopsy and aspiration, and then we saw these malignant cells. Then she and her son came again for the report. So when we thought we'll just examine her before she goes back to the doctor. And we examined her. Where is a possible malignancy? For a woman, the commonest would be, we knew it was an adenocarcinoma. Adenocarcinoma, you will learn next year, is a malignancy of glands. So this is very common. The commonest would be, in a woman, would be the breast. So we examined her. And we saw she had a big, huge lump in the breast. Now she's been investigated for almost a week. A week and 10 days she's been walking up and down. Nobody has bothered to examine her breast. So we asked her, why didn't you tell? You know there's such a big lump sitting in your breast. No, I did not want to trouble my son. So that is a mother and that is a patient. Something that could have been diagnosed easily with just physical exam. Now, I don't know if the recent doctors, those who are here, can tell. In Stanley, one of the famous symptoms that women used to come to us was Kaiyellam Kodedhu. How many of you do not understand Tamil? Just raise your hand. Okay, I'll just translate for you. Kaiyellam Kodedhu, Kaalellam Kodedhu. So we used to call it the Kai-Kaal Kodachal syndrome. Kai is hand, Kaal is leg, and Kodachal is like, it's like aching. So we used to give, maybe you're deficient in vitamin B12, and this lady will keep coming. So finally, you start talking once or twice, you see the same lady coming back, you start talking. The problem is not the Kai and the Kaal Kodachal. Basically, there's nobody bothered about her, whether she eats, whether she sleeps, what are her problems at home. There's nobody to listen to her. Once the doctor is listening to her, half her symptoms disappear. There are tons of people like this, not only women, there are tons of people like this. Just a kind word, just a listening ear helps resolve their problem. It's not always about technology, it's not always about medicines, what medicine, what investigation, no. Simple solutions are there. And one of the most important roles of a doctor is as a communicator. And second thing you people have to realize is you have to learn to work as a team. Today it's a healthcare team. You are a part of a team. There are doctors, senior doctors, mid-level doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists. You work together, the results on the patient is wonderful. If you think you are the mightiest, please remember you might fail. I am a pathologist. Without a good technicians, we are a failure. Learn to respect your team member, whoever they may be. I'd like to tell you another person of Indian origin. He is an Indian, a very much Indian in every way. M.R. Rajagopal. He has started palliative care in India. He's from a small village in Kerala. And his journey, if you have time, if you find it, please read this book, Walk with the Weary. He's an anesthetist, and how he tried to introduce pain, palliative care, pain management in India. What levels he went, how many people he met, and how he had to form a team composed of a layperson, administrator, nurses, and how he helped people to get relieved of a pain. So he talks about a child that he met in a cancer hospital. So the child knew he was dying, a Muslim boy. So he said, so the Dr. Rajagopal asked him, what are you worried about? He says, I know I'm getting treated, I might get well, but I might also die. So Dr. Rajagopal asked him, are you scared of dying? No, the problem is I'm not scared of dying, but when you bury me, won't I suffocate? Because you're burying him under the soil. He does not know. There is nobody to listen to his fears. Another child asked him, if I die, will God punish me? So why? What sin have you done? He was a 9-year-old boy. So he said, no, I pulled my sister's hair. Will God punish me for that? So he had to assure him. These are simple things that each one of us can do to alleviate the pain, the worry that the patient has. One of the things that you also have to realize, sometimes you are tired. You haven't eaten properly, you haven't had chance to drink water, haven't had a chance to go to the loo. Remember, you need your breaks. Squeeze in your breaks and take at whatever short breaks that you can take, please take them, because sometimes we behave badly because we are tired. And we can't afford to be nasty because we are tired. We too are human. You need to realize that, and some of the things that I learned from my students is that, I speak to the interns and they said it's very busy, so sometimes I carry, so your coat, white coat is very useful. It can hold your toothbrush, your paste, a packet of biscuits, and a small bottle of water, in addition to what you need in your workplace, your set, your pen. So your journey is going to be interesting. You will never regret being a doctor, provided you are sincere and hardworking. There is no other profession that is as rewarding as being a doctor. The sense of gratification you feel when the patient is cured, the smile on the patient's face. Money is not what matters here. Just that smile is enough to give you a good night's sleep. Remember that a good doctor need not be clever, intelligent, and skillful. If you are, very good. But the most important of all is sincerity and hard work. So, all the very best to you. I have another student here, Dr. Frank Omnath. He's my UG student. And I didn't expect seeing him here. So, I'm sure he will tell you the stories that we have had together. He's my 2004 batch, if I'm right. Your journey is going to be interesting. It lies in your hand. What you want to do with your time in here. So all the very best to you. Each one of you, remember your goal, where you have to reach. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful talk. I hope for sure our students will practice medicine by keeping humanism in their minds. We feel honored to have with us our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Renu G. Varghese. I now request our beloved Dean to felicitate our Chief Guest with a shawl, bouquet, and a memorable memento. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting it. In this juncture, we would like to share with you all that as a part of our efforts towards professional development, we have asked our students to reflect what does white coat mean to them. And we have got multivarious responses. Few of them have been captured and made as a backdrop behind. Students can take photographs in that booth after this event. Now that is, we have come to the fag end of this ceremony. Gratitude is the essence of all beautiful art. I request Dr. Lakshmi Jatia, Professor and Head Physiology, to deliver a vote of thanks.
A very warm and graceful morning to our most valued Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Renu G. Varghese, respected Dean, Dean HPE, Dr. Mahalakshmi, Dr. Vishnu Bhatt, Director Medical Research, Dr. K. Jaisingh, MS, Dr. Rajan, Vice Principal Academics, a very warm welcome and a good morning to all gathered here, my students, parents who are also watching this ceremony on YouTube. It is my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contributions of those who worked hard to make this ceremony very special and memorable for our MBBS batch of 2021-22. My gratitude and thanks are due to our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. A.S. Ganeshan, Madam Chancellor, Dr. Anuradha Ganeshan, for being the beacon of light for all of us. On this occasion, I also thank members of STB for their support and guidance. I heartily thank Dr. Renu Jibai Verghese, who is amongst us in spite of her busy schedule and sharing her thoughtful words with us. Thank you, ma'am. I warmly thank our Dean, Dr. P.F. Kotu, for his valuable guidance and support. I also thank you, sir. I also thank Dr. Vishnu Bhatt, Director Medical Research, for readily sharing his expertise and highlighting the significance of white coat. Thank you very much, sir. I graciously thank Dr. Mahalakshmi for her active involvement and guidance and administering the modified Charaka oath. Thank you, ma'am. I warmly thank Dr. Jai Singh, MS, for attending this function in spite of his busy schedule. I also thank Dr. T. Rajan, Vice Principal Academics, Dr. Annachalam, Vice Principal Student Affairs. Thank you. I thank all the HODs, faculty members, my colleagues for their gracious presence in this ceremony. And last but not the least, the students for maintaining decorum and for their enthusiastic participation. And last but not the least, the parents who are attending this function from far and wide, though they are attending this function virtually, but their excitement and enthusiasm is nothing less. Thank you, dear parents. And I'd be failing if I do not thank the AV team, Mr. Suresh, the horticulturist, for giving us a beautiful hall. Thank you one and all present here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I request you all to rise for national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Students, be seated. Students can take their tea and refreshments which is served outside. In fact,